Good morning, everyone, and welcome to CloudOS Week, which we are running together with some of our Microsoft most valuable professionals um, who are taking the time out of their busy schedules out in the real world implementing and using our technologies. So I just want to say thank you to the MVPs. We're really grateful that they are willing to take the time and share their hands-on experience with our technologies, and I really hope that you find it really useful to hear from these real users of the technology rather than just hearing from Microsoft. So we call it CloudOS Week. We're actually running these sessions on a number of separate days. So today we're going to talk about transforming the data center with Microsoft CloudOS. We got 3 other days. Tomorrow, April 1st, you will have the opportunity to hear about people-centric IT. On April 7th and 8th, there will be separate tracks on data, insight, and modern applications. I'm actually the only person on today's agenda that is not an MVP, so I do work for Microsoft. I'm a Windows Server and Modern Data Center lead here in the UK. Been with Microsoft for 3.5 years, and before that I spent 6 years as an industry analyst covering infrastructure software. I do really enjoy engaging with real users and the customers out there. So please do feel free to contact me on either my email or Twitter, which I'm sharing here on the slide. But really, the rest of the day is going to be presented by our MVPs, who's going to take you through some of the new capabilities in our technologies. So we're going to focus on what's new in Windows Server 2012 R2, System Center 2012 R2, and we're going to touch briefly on Windows Azure as well. So it's a pretty jam-packed agenda. Our MVPs have picked some of their favorite capabilities within the technology. So you'll hear about PowerShell, you'll hear about storage spaces, you'll see some demos of what's new in Operations Manager, in Service Manager, and also Azure Pack, which are some of the latest technologies in the stack. So hopefully you'll get lots of value out of these sessions today. Before we dive into the technologies, I'm going to start by talking to you about Microsoft's CloudOS vision and strategy, and really how that is shaping how we are developing our technologies today. And I'm going to start at the very high level, talking about four very, I'm sure, familiar but also very transformational trends that are transforming business and IT today, and they're important just to set the scene around how CloudOS fits into our current product thinking and development. So the first one is consumerization of IT. We all know that the world has changed significantly from a PC-only world to a world full of different types of devices, and the expectations from our users to be able to bring in um, devices from home, whether that's smartphones or tablet devices. And what we're doing from a management and security perspective with System Center and our new offering, relatively new offering, cloud-based offering called Intune, is looking at how you can actually manage and secure those devices regardless of the operating system. That can be a Windows device, it can equally be an Android or an Apple device. We still need to look at how we manage and secure those devices and empower your users to work on any device and from anywhere. So that's really the theme of people-centric IT, which you will hear a lot more about tomorrow. Another key trend is around modern applications. So long gone are the days when we only needed to access our applications between working hours and we had these long maintenance windows on the weekends. Now the expectations from both users and customers is that our applications are going to be available 24/7. They're going to be accessible with a great user experience from any type of device, any of those devices we just talked about. And we're also expecting a lot of the experience we have in the apps that we're using on our new devices to also be integrated into our business applications. So there's a lot of work going on for a lot of organizations around not only how do I develop new cloud-enabled and mobile applications quickly, but also how do I extend and modernize my legacy applications. And that's where our Azure offerings fits in, both from a platform as a service and from an infrastructure as a service perspective, to build net new applications and to modernize and extend legacy applications. The third trend that I wanted to touch on is the big data explosion. There's a lot of statistics out there around how quickly data is growing. The reality is it's growing extremely quickly and doubling pretty much every year. It's not just a challenge how quickly data is growing, but also what type of data. So the majority of data that's being produced today is what we call unstructured data. So it doesn't sit nicely in our traditional ERP or financial systems, but it exists in different types of social applications. It exists not just inside but outside of our applications and our internal data centers. So this is a challenge both from an infrastructure perspective in terms of how do I manage and secure this data and store and back up that data, but also from a business intelligence perspective. So how can I mine all this data for true business insights and faster business decision making? And this is an area where we have made a lot of work with our SQL platform. We just recently launched SQL 2014, and we now have a very strong and powerful BI and data warehouse platform in SQL. But we've also done tremendous work in terms of the front end with putting BI in the hands of the actual decision makers and building Power BI capabilities into familiar technologies and tools such as Excel and Office 365. So that's again another pillar that you can hear more about on, I believe it's the 7th or 8th of April. And then finally, the fourth trend, which is kind of also overlapping all of these three other trends that I just talked about, cloud computing, which we all hear about every day of the week. The reality is most companies have embraced and are using cloud in one way or another today, and it's only set to grow exponentially over the coming years. So those are the four key trends that analyst houses are talking about, and that Microsoft is really developing our Cloud OS technologies around. So you have the opportunity throughout these coming days, over the coming 2 weeks, to hear about all of those four pillars. Today we're going to talk about scaling your infrastructures on demand by transforming your data centers. There's also the opportunity to learn more about the other pillars around unlocking insights on any data, empowering people-centric IT, and enabling modern business applications. So that's really at the highest level what Cloud OS is all about and how we break down that vision into the four key pillars. So if we move into transforming the data center, really, we hear a lot about the cloud, and cloud is certainly a reality today that is set to continue. The data here is from Forrester, who is expecting that about half of all IT spending will be cloud related by 2020. So cloud is not just a buzzword, it's also a reality. But I think it's important to still remember that not everything is going to the cloud. So 80% of the world's largest organizations expect to still have more than half of their IT remaining on site by the same year, 2020. So really, the future is not going to be all about the cloud. It's really going to be a hybrid cloud scenario where customers want to have the choice of making the right decision when to deploy infrastructure and applications in their own data centers, when to deploy it in the public cloud. But importantly, they also want to have the choice and flexibility to move that infrastructure and the workloads between their own data center and the cloud as they see fit. And that's really at the heart of our Cloud OS vision and what we're trying to enable with our solutions across Windows Server as the platform and the virtualization layer with Hyper-V, with System Center as the management layer, whether that's for on-premise or cloud management, and with Azure as your public cloud platform. So really, we're trying to provide you with a data center without boundaries. We're building a virtualization platform that is able to provide a scale and performance so that you can virtualize any workload and give you the flexibility to easily move those workloads between your own data center and the cloud. But importantly, it's no longer just about virtualizing your server infrastructure. We're doing a lot of innovation around storage virtualization with storage spaces, which you're going to have the opportunity to hear more about in one of today's sessions. We've done a lot of innovation around network virtualization or software-defined networking, which really enables this vision around the hybrid cloud scenarios. And ultimately, building a more flexible and dynamic infrastructure is all well and good, but the end goal is really to enable you to deliver applications and business services in a more dynamic way for your businesses and your business users. So that's really the vision with CloudOS. I think one common misnomer about Microsoft is that we're still only a software vendor, and I think we are in a very fortunate position as an on-premise data center provider. So we have a very strong position with Active Directory, for instance, which has really become a de facto directory services platform. Windows Server is clearly a very widely deployed server platform. The same thing is true for SQL as a database technology and System Center as a management technology in the data center. What I think many customers are less familiar with is our experience as a cloud service provider. The reality is we have been providing cloud services for over a decade now. We have over 200 cloud services, both the consumer services like Hotmail, Skype, Bing, Xbox Live in the consumer space, but more importantly in the commercial space, we offer both SaaS services like Dynamics CRM Online and our productivity suite, obviously Office 365, but also what is perhaps most relevant for today's discussion, we have been offering Azure both as an infrastructure as a service and a platform as a service offering for a substantial amount of time now, and we got tremendous traction with our Azure platform, with over 50% of the Fortune 500 companies using Azure today. But what's more important than that is the integration that we're working on between our traditional on-premise technologies and our Azure capabilities. So, for instance, Active Directory is available in Azure as Azure Active Directory, and it's possible to federate between Active Directory on-premise and your cloud-based services. So you can get that single sign-on experience with your cloud-based applications. With your server and compute capacity, for instance, you actually use the same version of Hyper-V in the virtual machine format that you run on-premise that you use in Azure, which makes it a lot easier to move those workloads into Windows Azure. And you can choose to deploy SQL databases in Azure today, and we have over 600,000 SQL databases running in the cloud today. And System Center can be used for managing both your on-premise and your Azure-based infrastructure as well. So that integration between on-premise and cloud-based infrastructure is really critical. So CloudOS is really about providing that choice between, do you want to deploy infrastructure and workloads in your own data center? Do you want to deploy them in the Azure cloud? Or as a third alternative, do you want to deploy them with a third-party service provider that has built their own local cloud services on the Microsoft platform? If you want to have access to a cloud offering that is still remaining in the UK data centers and still providing you with that unified, common and integrated platform across the virtualization layer, the data layer, the identity and the management layer. So hopefully that gives you an idea of what the CloudOS from Microsoft is really all about. And I wanted to share with you a short 2-minute video of Telefonica and how they are building their next generation data centers using CloudOS as their platform.
We're at a catalyst point in the telco industry. Everybody needs to be connected all the time now. The mission for Telefonica is to connect people. We have 340 million different customers around the globe. So it's connecting people It's not just telephony, it's data, it's applications. Managing over 50 data centers globally between different companies we've acquired, very complex. Telefónica's vision is to make that much more simple. The strategy over the next 3 years, starting this year in 2013 in Europe, is to consolidate down 27 data centers. These will eventually boil down and rationalize and virtualize down to 3 rooms in our brand new Madrid data center that we've just completed.
There are only 8 Tier 4 data centers certified by Uptime Institute in the world. By size, ours is the largest.
It doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize when you bring that down and highly virtualize, increase density to an ultimate state, there's sort of savings in power, cost, efficiency and operation that brings.
The reason why we are looking for an alternative to VMware is to reduce the cost and to find alternatives aligned with the most used operating systems in our company.
Late last year, we ran a pilot on the brand new version of Hyper-V. Incredibly impressed. We then decided very quickly with the results to put into the middle of our virtualized platform in this Tier 4 data center. Now with Hyper-V, we can actually scale the solutions to what we need, whether it's 1,000 users or 100,000 users. It doesn't matter.
You can imagine the benefits if we are talking about 18,000 different virtual machines running on the same fabric in about 75–80% of utilization.
Our strategy as Telefónica is a hybrid cloud, so it will neither be all private, it will neither be all public. What we love about using the Hyper-V product and using it internally, it gives us complete flexibility to mesh ultimately into the Azure product as and when we need it. So our strategy is very, very attuned to Microsoft as we go on this spectacular journey. If you imagine a vision of 18,000 servers virtualized in a world-class data center on a world-class platform, fundamentally with all the data in one location, supporting a Telefónica hybrid cloud vision with a Microsoft Cloud OS vision, actually these things mean that anything is possible.
So I just wanted to share that video as an example of one very large customer that has taken advantage of this Cloud OS vision to build out as cloud infrastructure at a very large scale. And I wanted to share a couple of very different customer examples as well. One other example is Domino's Pizza, so a very different type of company to Telefónica. They had a very different challenge. So they have over 5,000 pizza stores in different locations with very little IT in each of those stores and no IT skills in the individual stores. So what they decided to do was run Windows Server and virtualize using Hyper-V the point of sales terminals and the servers managing those in each individual stores, and then using System Center to manage all of those, what then became 15,000 virtual machines from a central location using only 3 IT admins. And I think that's another very different type of customer, almost at the other scale and end of the spectrum, but getting advantage of kind of cloud scalability at the same time. So that's another example of how customers can get cloud scalability and scale and advantages. The third example that I wanted to share is Aston Martin. So they again had a very different challenge. They approached it very much from a business challenge perspective. So they had over time started to work with a wide range of different best of breed point product providers across unified communications, across desktop management, productivity, etc. So they had over a dozen different IT providers, and they were just finding that it was becoming too cost and time prohibitive to manage all these different vendor relationships. So they decided, after evaluating the strength of the technology, that they wanted to buy into the Cloud OS vision and the breadth of the Microsoft portfolio to reduce the number of vendors that they had to work with. So they more than cut their number of vendors in half and are now working with Microsoft as their key strategic IT provider to really cut costs from a pure vendor relationship perspective. So those are three very different type of customers that are working with us in CloudOS. I'm soon going to hand over to the MVPs to talk you through the technologies and get under the hood of the products. But I just wanted to share at the high level some of the key new capabilities in Windows Server and System Center, and take a very quick look at Azure as well. So Windows Server is really a comprehensive platform to run your workloads, your infrastructure, and your applications, and at the same time provide you with performance, security, high availability, and a way to reduce cost and improve agility. So some of the areas that we've been focusing on in the Windows Server 2012 and the most recent R2 release is obviously one key area has been server virtualization. So Hyper-V has come an amazingly far way from when we first released the V1 product in Windows Server 2008 to where it is today in terms of scale and performance. So if you look at the Gartner Magic Quadrant or a technical white paper today, you'll find that we really offer an industry-leading server virtualization platform today. And what's fantastic is that it's included in the server platform. So it's not something you need to purchase a separate license for. But as I mentioned earlier, it's no longer just about virtualizing your servers. So we've made a lot of effort in improving virtualization across the entire infrastructure stack. And one of the most exciting areas for me personally is the work we have done around storage virtualization. So storage is one of the key costs in any data center. And with the ability to build storage pools using industry standard hardware with storage spaces and the ability to introduce tiering and using deduplication, we really help you to reduce the cost of storage significantly. So that session today I think is really, really exciting. Then we have the network virtualization capabilities that we've been working on as well, with software-defined networking to really help you isolate different parts of your network at the virtualization level to really make it easier for you to make your virtual machines more mobile and moving them between different data centers and the cloud. VDI is the fourth area of virtualization where we made a lot of improvements as well. So we have improved the RDS protocol itself for better efficiency. We have introduced deduplication capabilities of the virtual desktop images to reduce the back-end cost of using VDI, and we've simplified the management of your virtual desktops as well. So that's definitely an area worth taking a look at. Security has always been a critical part of Windows Server, so we got Active Directory built in, of course. We've made improvements to remote access capabilities with direct access to make it easier for your remote workers to access your corporate networks. And we've introduced improved capabilities when it comes to granular access control with dynamic access control. So the security enhancements are also a key improvement aspects in Windows Server. And finally, the management and automation capabilities with PowerShell and Server Manager is also something that really stands out in the server platform that you're also going to see more about in the demos today. If we look at System Center, Microsoft has been in the management space for over 20 years now with products that were previously known as SMS and MOM, which I think many of you are probably familiar with. Now today we offer an entire suite of integrated management technologies across infrastructure provisioning to monitoring, all the way from your physical environments to your virtual environment to deep application monitoring. And it's not just about managing and monitoring your Microsoft stack. We can help you provision and monitor Linux and Unix environments, VMware virtual machines, Sun server VMs in the application space. Of course, we can provide deep monitoring of Microsoft applications, of .NET applications, all the way down to the actual code itself, but also of Java applications. So we provide a very heterogeneous management capability. And we've also introduced very capable automation capabilities with Orchestrator and self-service and IT service management capabilities with Service Manager, which you're also going to get a chance to get a demo of in today's sessions. So System Center is really a very capable end-to-end management suite of solutions today. If you look at Azure, and I've noticed a lot of customers are not all that familiar with Azure, we've invested billions of dollars in building a truly public cloud offering. As I mentioned, both infrastructure and platform as a service. The green dots here are the 10 data centers that we have spread out around the globe, and we've got another 2 coming on in a relatively short time frame as well. 2 of those are based in Europe, and they are in Dublin and Amsterdam, and you can also work with our service providers to get local data center support. So we provide support across the world. You can get local support and account team access around the world, and we can even bill you in local currency. I mentioned that we offer infrastructure and application services, and I think another misconception about Microsoft is that we're not an open platform. So Azure is totally open. You can run Linux on Azure, you can run Oracle databases, you can run Hadoop. In fact, we offer HD Insights, which is our own Hadoop offering for unstructured data. And you can develop on any language, whether that's .NET, Java, PHP, and Python, for instance. So it's a tremendous wealth of opportunity in terms of how you can use Azure. So that gives you just a very high-level overview of what CloudOS is all about and how we're developing our products today. So before I hand over to the MVPs to give you more of a deep dive into these technologies, I just wanted to give you an idea of how you can find out more on your own accord after these sessions. So you got free access to Microsoft Virtual Academy if you want to do some on-demand training yourself. You're also free to come along to our free in-person workshops that we're running across the major cities in the UK. We're running pretty much one every week or every second week of those. If you want to get really hands-on with the technologies and sit down in a lab environment and play around with the products, we're running a number of IT Pro camps here around some of the key cities in April that you can come along to as well. And if you're ready to deploy our technologies and you have a software assurance agreement with us, then make sure you're taking advantage of your free deployment planning services hours to really get started with the technology. So with that, I'd like to say thank you for your time. I really hope that you get great value out of the demos and enjoy the sessions today. And I really look forward to working with you and hand over to the MVPs. Thank you very much.